Your boot stops beside a fresh muddy footprint. The heel has the same broken edge, the same deep scratch. It is yours. And another matching print waits a few steps ahead. You have been following your own footprints. The trail curves past the same pale-barked tree you passed an hour ago. But you never turned around. You never felt the path bending. You were walking straight. At least that is what it felt like. Then you looked behind you. The tracks close into one enormous loop. That is the frightening part. The circle felt perfectly straight. Most people imagine straight ahead as something fixed inside the body, like a compass needle built into the skull. But it is not fixed. Your brain keeps estimating forward while you move. It combines what your feet, joints, inner ear, and eyes are telling it. Most of the time, the outside world corrects small mistakes. A distant ridge stays on your left. The sun holds a direction in the sky. A trail sign confirms the next turn. But remove those checks, and the direction that feels straight can begin drifting. Slowly enough that no single step feels wrong. So why does the drift sometimes become a full circle? For generations, people had a clean answer. One leg must be shorter, or the other one must be stronger. Each step would push the walker slightly sideways until the path curled back on itself. It sounds reasonable, and more importantly, it makes a clear prediction. If one leg causes the curve, the person should keep turning toward the same side. Researchers could test that. In 2009, Jean Suman and his colleagues asked volunteers to do something that sounds almost insultingly simple. Choose a direction, then walk straight. The walkers could not inspect their routes. A hidden GPS recorded every turn. In a cloudy German forest, 4 volunteers eventually formed circles. 3 crossed their own earlier tracks without noticing. One route wandered, tightened, crossed itself, then curved back again. The walkers had not decided to turn. Their certainty and their paths were telling different stories. But the forest contained a clue. 2 other volunteers walked while the sun was visible. They still drifted around trees and fallen branches, but their routes stayed roughly straight for hours. The researchers later repeated the test in the Sahara. The landscape had few stable landmarks, and tall dunes interrupted the horizon. During daylight, 2 walkers could still see the sun. They wandered, but neither settled into a sustained circle. A third walked at night beneath a full moon. When clouds hit it, the route began making sharp turns, including turns back toward the starting direction. The sample was tiny. It does not prove that sunlight magically keeps everyone straight. But it pointed toward something more useful. A distant stable reference can keep correcting the direction inside your head. Then the researchers removed visual direction completely. 15 people walked blindfolded in an open field. Their routes looked nothing alike. Some wandered, some bent gradually, some suddenly rolled into tight circles less than 20 meters across. That is small enough to fit inside the width of many basketball courts. But most people did not circle continuously, and they did not all turn the same way. Some curved left, straightened, then looped right. Only a few showed a strong, consistent turning bias. That was bad news for the short leg theory. If one stronger or shorter leg were the general cause, the turning direction should stay predictable. It did not. Measurements of leg strength did not match the walkers' turning biases. Changing the thickness under their shoes did not produce a consistent effect either. One volunteer had less than a millimeter of measured leg length difference. Blindfolded, he turned strongly in one direction. In the forest, he veered the other way. His legs had not switched sizes between experiments. What changed was his estimate of forward. To see how that happens, imagine taking one slow step with your eyes closed. Your heel lands, your ankle bends, your knee shifts above the foot. Sensors in your muscles and joints report where those body parts are. Your inner ear reports turning and acceleration. Your motor system remembers the movement it just produced. Together, those signals create an internal arrow, straight ahead. But none of those signals points north. None can see the tree behind you. And every signal contains a little uncertainty. Imagine the arrow turning by half a degree. You aim the next step along the new arrow. That step becomes evidence for the next estimate. Another small error joins the first, then another. The path begins curving, but each foot still lands exactly where forward seems to be. This is why the mistake can feel so convincing. You are not ignoring your internal compass. You are following it perfectly. The compass itself is drifting. The researchers described the routes as a kind of correlated random walk. That does not mean the movement is completely random. It means recent errors can influence later ones, producing a smooth curve instead of a chaotic zigzag. The exact neural source is not settled. Signals from the inner ear may contribute, body position signals may contribute, movement control may contribute. The important part is what happens when none of them receives a reliable outside correction. Eventually, the internal arrow can rotate far enough for the path to close. The pale tree returns from the opposite side, and your own footprint is waiting beside it. But the world can reset the arrow surprisingly quickly. In the blindfold experiment, people walked in shorter trials. Between trials, they briefly regained vision. Their previous turning tendency often disappeared. A short look at the ground gave the brain a new reference. The next blindfolded path often began straighter. Even stopping and being turned around could partly reset the direction. The circle was not permanently stored inside one leg. It emerged when reliable correction disappeared. That is also why a map or compass does more than tell you where you are. It can contradict a direction that feels completely right, and that matters in a real emergency. The experiment involved calm volunteers following instructions. They were not injured, they were not protecting a child, they were not panicking as the temperature dropped, so the study cannot predict every lost person's path. It supports a narrower conclusion. Without reliable external direction, felt straightness can drift. Official outdoor guidance begins with something very unexciting and very useful. Prepare external references before you need them. Know the route, carry a map, compass, or working GPS. Leave your trip plan with someone. And when you realize you may be lost, stop. Check your position against something outside your own sense of direction. Retrace only when it is safe and you are confident about the route. If rescuers know where you are, stay there unless immediate danger forces you to move. Without a signal, conserve energy, find nearby shelter, and make yourself easier to see or hear. The important rule is simple. Do not keep walking merely because the direction feels obvious. Now return to that footprint in the mud. It does not prove your legs betrayed you. It does not prove every lost person walks in circles. It proves something more useful. You can be wrong without feeling a turn. Your internal direction can drift quietly while every step feels correct. Usually, the world catches the mistake. A ridge, the sun, a sign, a compass needle refusing to agree with you. Remove those references, and confidence becomes part of the trap. But the old footprint is a reference too. It tells you the feeling has failed. So stop. Check the world. Do not follow confidence into another loop. Next on Hidden Logic. Would you notice if one of your memories never happened? Subscribe, and we will test that memory next.